Boston and Washington have been in discussions on a potential framework. Porzingis navigates the decision on his $36 million player option. There have also been contenders reaching out with interest in the 7'3" big man.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my favorite time of the year. We have the NBA draft coming up within the next 24 hours, which, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to live stream it on this YouTube channel. And on top of that, we're getting some breaking news in regards to a huge trade. So before we get to the content, we're giving away $1,000 to 5 subscribers that turn on our notifications on this channel on the first day of free agency. All you have to do to enter is just hit the bell. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. The NFL and NBA season are officially over, and I need something to hold me over until at least the NFL season comes back. So I've been playing prize picks for the WNBA and the MLB, and I've been fairly successful. It's a good way to get some extra action on games that I wouldn't really watch otherwise. I post my picks onto my Instagram story daily, and I've been hitting on a decent amount of them. And right now, when you use my promo code microphone, they'll double your deposit up to $100. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, I hate to be serious before we start this video. Unfortunately, I'm in a very tough spot. The MCN that partners this channel that allows me to use NBA footage on this content has been stealing from me. I don't want this to be a big thing on the channel. I don't want to make a video on this on the channel. I may have to put out a tweet soon. If you guys could go turn on my notifications for my Twitter, and if the tweet is live, retweet the tweet. It would mean a lot to me. No matter what, I'm going to be fine. I'm not financially motivated to make content for this channel. I love you all. I love what I do. I just thought I'd let you know what's going down. The NBA offseason has been insane so far. This past weekend, we saw the Phoenix Suns quite literally rob the Washington Wizards. I can't believe they allowed it. I can't believe it was legal. I mean, not only did they get Bradley Beal for peanuts on the dollar, but the Washington Wizards had to give up additional young assets to trade Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns. We made a whole video on it, and it was a very disgusting trade that included Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and a handful of second-round picks to Bradley Beal, who was the franchise cornerstone for the Washington Wizards. You can make a very legitimate argument that there was like no upside for the Wizards to make this move. This is going to be a cautionary tale for teams to not give their players no trade clauses in the future for sure. Now you might be thinking,
Mike, why are you rehashing old news? This happened this past weekend. We made a video on it already.
well, a huge part of that video was the fact that the Washington Wizards got Chris Paul. Now, Chris Paul is a very uncomfortable asset to have. 38 years old, still pretty good. He has a $30 million a year contract. This year it's partially guaranteed. And you can't buy him out because without a doubt, this is the best player that the Washington Wizards got in return for him. So there was a huge question about what was going to be done next. What are the Washington Wizards going to do? There's a lot of questions about this team's future. I mean, you had Kyle Kuzma announce that he is going to opt out and enter free agency. And also, Kristaps Porzingis can opt out and enter free agency. You have some young talent in Denny Avdia and Daniel Gafford, but the future for the Washington Wizards doesn't look good. You can make a very legitimate argument that they very much mismanaged their assets, and it should be a cautionary tale for everyone for the future. But what's their next move? Well, instead of letting one of their stars just leave out of nowhere, it seems like they are in the midst of negotiating a huge trade with the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Clippers. And we first heard this from Shams Charania himself.
Celtics are pursuing Kristaps Porzingis from the Wizards in a potential opt-in and trade deal. Boston and Washington have been in discussions on a potential framework. Porzingis navigates the decision on his $36 million player option. There have also been contenders reaching out with interest in the 7'3" big man.
So the Washington Wizards are working on a huge trade with the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Clippers. And here's what Shams had to say. Sources: the Wizards, Celtics, and Clippers are in strong talks on a trade that would send Kristaps Porzingis to Boston, Marcus Morris in draft compensation to Washington, and Malcolm Brogdon to Los Angeles. Guys are still working through the details and Porzingis' $36 million player option. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's officially official. According to Shams Charania, breaking: the Celtics, Wizards, Clippers are closing in on a trade sending Kristaps Porzingis to Boston and Malcolm Brogdon to LA and Marcus Morris in draft compensation to Washington. We eventually would get word that the Clippers are expected to trade number 30 in Thursday's NBA draft to the Wizard as part of this 3-team trade. and Washington Nets a first rounder for aiding in the Porzingis opt-in and trade. So yeah, the Washington Wizards quite literally got a better return for Kristaps Porzingis than they did for Bradley Beal. At least you got a first round pick in this particular instance, and honestly, you could have lost Kristaps for nothing. Wow, this is insane. I mean, there are trades that are made that just like really are exciting when you start to romanticize the combination of the players, like the Phoenix Suns trading for Bradley Beal. I'm going to be honest, really didn't make a lot of sense to me in the sense where they pretty much gave up a huge playmaker and added more scoring next to another player that's known for his scoring, next to another player that could kind of do it all, Kevin Durant, but primarily known for his scoring. And then you're pairing them up with a defensive-minded head coach. I'm not saying it's a bad trade by any means. I mean, they practically got him for free, but in terms of fit, I absolutely love this trade. And bear in mind, I'm a Los Angeles Lakers fan, so when I'm coming up here and saying that the Celtics made an awesome trade, wow, this is an awesome trade. As just a basketball purist that just enjoys the X's and O's of basketball, this is literally the equivalent of watching an orchestra or a symphony or poetry in motion. The fit of Kristaps Porzingis on the Boston Celtics quite literally is going to bring tears to my eyes when I finally watch it. This is without a doubt the greatest situation for Kristaps Porzingis throughout his entire career. I mean, Porzingis exploded on the scene when he was a member of the New York Knicks, and he was considered to be the next big thing, the unicorn. And then he got traded to the Dallas Mavericks, where, let's be honest, he wasn't perceived as the same type of player. He had a remarkable skill set, it's just the flaws were clearly there. He wasn't capable of just being the 1-2 punch with Luka Doncic the way LeBron James and Anthony Davis were during that era. There were definitely issues with him defensively as well, at least on the perimeter. There were questions about whether or not his ACL had something to do with that. Then he got traded to the Washington Wizards for a package surrounding Spencer Dinwiddie. That's when you started to think, wow, Kristaps Porzingis isn't the same player that he once was. Now, in this particular instance, you're not just taking Kristaps Porzingis and pairing him with other star players and saying, okay, make good basketball happen, which is what I think the Phoenix Suns kind of did, which nothing wrong with that. We've seen it many times. Sometimes it works out, but this trade has such a remarkable effect on the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics already had a remarkable duo of defensive centers / power forwards, at least in the case of Al Horford. They have Time Lord Robert Williams, who is known for being a remarkable lob threat and a great rim protector. And they have Al Horford, who is aging like a graceful fine wine, who plays incredible defense. So much so that the Philadelphia 76ers tried signing him 4 years ago, just so Joel Embiid didn't need to face off against him. But there was something missing offensively. It seemed like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown had to do way too much. Way too much. And periodically, Al Horford would have the opportunity to shoot wide open threes. And amazingly enough, this past season, Al Horford was able to convert on 45% of his threes, which is insane. So now you have Kristaps Porzingis, who, when he doesn't have to shoulder the entire burden of defense, plays pretty solid defense, who could also stretch the floor, who is also known for his ability to score in bunches. You pair him with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. All you have to give up in this instance is Malcolm Brogdon, and I'm not exaggerating, this is without a doubt the piece that gets the Boston Celtics over the top. They made it to the NBA Finals 2 years ago. They weren't able to get the job done. Last year, they crumbled in the Eastern Conference Finals against the 8th seed. It wouldn't be the only team that did that. And instead of deciding to fire their coach and explore trading Jaylen Brown, because you can't keep Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum together because they're both going to have supermax contracts, which is something I said and I'll hold myself accountable for, they decided to stand pat, realize that they have something special here. It's been reported that most teams in the NBA would do anything to have a core like the Boston Celtics, and decided to add on to it. An opt-in and trade for Kristaps Porzingis to the Boston Celtics. They were already the team to beat in the East. This puts them on near super team levels, and it's not going to be via sexy names. It's not going to be via LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and Anthony Davis tier. But from the standpoint of this being a remarkable fit for the Boston Celtics, like truly a hand in glove fit for the Boston Celtics. This is and could very much be the best trade of the offseason. Now, I know we're not even in free agency yet, man. We didn't even get to the draft. We didn't even get to free agency. But regardless, this is a remarkable trade and needs to be appreciated as such. I don't necessarily know why the Los Angeles Clippers did this. I mean, you're taking on Malcolm Brogdon. He turns 31 this upcoming season. He has an additional year on his contract than Marcus Morris. I guess you could claim that he's a slightly more valuable piece than Marcus Morris. This definitely takes them out of any potential race for Chris Paul. Malcolm Brogdon could fit with Russell Westbrook as well. So I guess in that standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. And in the case of the Washington Wizards, at least they get something for Kristaps Porzingis potentially leaving, because he could have just opted out and left for nothing. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about this trade, man. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.